In every generation, two Prose are born. Chosen to watch every episode of Buffy and tell you what they think about them. This is the Prose Visit Sunnydale. Season 2.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Prose Bros Visit Sunnydale. I am Eddie Cruz.
And I'm Geoff.
And today we're doing Season 2, Episode 16 of Buffy, Bewitched, Bothered, and Bewildered. That's quite a handful of a name right there.
It's difficult to say.
Yeah, it seems just like every single word that has something to do with both love and magic. Yeah.
I had to look at it. I looked down at my notes to double check. I was like, and you are correct. Yes.
And yes, sir, there are no other B words that have anything to do with those two at all.
So yeah, this is a Valentine's Day episode. Happy Valentine's Day, Eddie.
Happy Valentine's Day, Geoff. That's not today. Today's actually Mexican Mother's Day.
Nobody knows that.
Oh, okay. Well, we're recording on this on Mexican Mother's Day.
Okay. But it is a Valentine's Day episode. It's another episode that's a global spell episode, which I think both of us really like.
Globally, not locally. Wait, it should be the other way around, right?
Sure.
Think locally,
Why not?
Not globally. I don't know. It's from that movie Biodome.
I haven't seen that in such a long time.
I watch it once a year.
Really?
Yeah, it's tradition.
Okay.
I'm just joking. It's really good.
You never know. You were watching Karate Kid 3 when I came in.
The fucking movie's amazing, dude. The bad guy's like the worst bad guy you could be. He's like anti, Mr. Miyagi and Karate Kid boy, but he's also like his specific job in the movie is that he dumps nuclear waste. Like he's like, he didn't say like anything else. He's just like, I dumped nuclear waste.
And I'm sure he gets paid pretty well for it.
Yeah, he's
right?
like, I get fucking citations every year. I can't do one dump without a violation. It was awesome. I was just like, oh my God, this is so 90s. I love it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Weird.
That has nothing to do with Buffy, though.
You know what does, though?
Buffy.
I was going to say Xander.
Oh, Xander. Yeah, this is a Xander deep episode.
Yeah.
Very Xander heavy.
Speaking of Xander, do you want to break the big news for us?
The El Paso Comic-Con just happened. We went to it, and Xander was one of the panels.
Nicholas Brendan.
Who
plays Xander. But let's be honest here. Most of the questions were all about Buffy.
I would say about
Xander.
95, except for my question.
You threw him like a softball pitch for that one.
Yeah.
What'd you think about seeing Xander?
It was kind of weird, right? Like, we got to the Comic-Con, and I have to say, like, I love El Paso, love the EP Con, but not very well organized, right?
No.
So there's this long line of people waiting for a panel in one of the main halls, and we went up to it, and I assumed it was for Xander, because I was like, who else is fucking here? I don't know any of these people. And this little girl, like, got really mad at us because we had to go to the front of the line to check the poster, because that was the only indication of who was speaking.
Basically saying, hey, the line's back here.
There.
Where it's like, we don't even know who this is for.
Hey, you old fuck. She pointed at you and me, and she was like, hey, old fucks. There's a line. And, she's like, we know that you know what a line is, you old bastard.
But I didn't hear any of that. So
yeah.
That was...
So then we found this other hall, and to our surprise, it was completely empty.
We basically went to the opposite side where there was nobody there.
Yeah.
And no line.
Where the Comic-Con gets a little creepy.
Yeah.
Like, that's like, you turn that corner and you're like, oh, God, is this where people come to get their costumes in order and stuff?
Yeah, and then in walks Nicholas Brendan.
Yeah.
Xander Harris.
A very, very beach-looking version.
He looked like Mac, when he starts wearing those Tommy Bahama shirts.
Yeah.
That's kind of
like at that level. It was cool. As far as everything that went, it was cool. He was exactly what I thought he'd be, and like him and James Marsters are both like very different when they speak, like very easygoing guys.
Well, the thing is, I've heard, not live, but I've heard James Marsters speak in interviews, and he's James Marsters. He's not Spike, but I feel like Nicholas Brendon is pretty much Xander.
Yeah, it seems like they had a lot of things like in common as far as how they speak. Not trying to diss his acting ability, but he kind of acted like himself when he was being Xander.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's why people really relate to Xander and feel a connection to Nicholas Brendon, because it was cool. A room full of people really, really out there to ask, fun questions. We got a little bit of insight on the 20th anniversary of Buffy. We had him talk a little bit about his depression. We got a little bit about like overall how he feels about Buffy. He still loves Joss Whedon and everything he's ever done and all that good stuff, but he might not be liked by the rest of the cast of Buffy.
Yeah, that's definitely the impression I got.
Yeah, it kind of feels like after being on Dr. Phil and talking about his depression and stuff, maybe I'm guessing David Boreanaz, because he just did a panel with everybody right before this, and they got everybody together except for David Boreanaz, and he was allowed to be on the panel. And then all of a sudden, David Boreanaz is on their panel, and he got kicked off of their panel.
Well, he said it was kind of hinted that way, or at least I was gathering through context clues.
Yeah.
He said it was definitely a male cast member. And I've seen him do interviews since with James Marsters and with Anthony Head.
Yeah.
So who else could it be?
Like Process of Elimination, David Boreanaz's shitty Bones old man act didn't want him to talk on the Buffy panel, which I thought was pretty fucked up.
I like how he played it off too. He made that joke. He's like, well, yeah, I still got invited. Like, where was Riley Finn? Like, nobody even asked Mark Blucas to come. So I was like, ouch. Yeah. I guess it could be worse.
What did you think about his performance?
I liked it a lot. I liked hearing just different Buffy stories in general. I did think, I don't know if he has some sort of ADHD or was nervous or something, but he was acting a little strange, I think.
He was, if I was just to go ahead and make a horrible, he seemed like he was on cocaine or some kind of stimulant.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was very, I don't know.
It's fidgety.
Fidgety, yeah.
Yeah,
he was fidgety with his gum. He was fidgety with the table. Sorry.
Yeah.
I figured people could hear that. Kind of like nutty. And then, it was just a little weird.
To the point where midway through, and it was almost like a comic routine, I felt that nobody got, but he pulls out a piece of gum, starts eating it, and then he's talking with the gum in his mouth, and then he takes it out, and then he holds it, and then he answers a couple questions, and then he puts it back in his mouth and starts chewing it. It was strange.
It was kind of strange. Yeah. Oh, no. Either way, it was cool. Didn't really learn much about Nicholas Brendon that I didn't know before, but it was cool.
I learned that he really liked the musical episode, and
yeah.
I guess, was it him or people in general that didn't like Beer Bad?
I think he said that it was told to him that was a bad episode. I thought that was a fine episode. Yeah. I enjoyed that episode.
We'll see when we get there. That's an episode I really like. Xander as a bartender.
Mm-hmm.
Buffy as an ape, cave person.
Well, let's get to a very Xander terrific centric episode, right?
Sure.
Bewitched, bewildered, and bewildering. Bewitched, bothered, and bewildered. So, what was this episode about, Jeff?
Well, like I said earlier, it's a global spell, love potion-esque episode that goes wrong. It starts in the graveyard with Buffy and Xander. Xander is there for, I don't know what reason.
Yeah, this was just that night that he went with Buffy.
Yeah, Buffy's obviously on patrol, and he is there talking about a gift he's going to give Cordelia. And I don't know if they established it in this scene or not, that it is Valentine's Day, or just that he's going to give her a gift.
I don't think they established that it's Valentine's Day, but he kind of just it starts with that heart right in front of the camera. And that kind of gives away, I think, the whole theme of the episode.
Yeah, and which comes into play a little bit later.
Yeah.
With the whole love potion global spell thing. I thought that was notable about this scene, and also that he admits that he still has feelings for Buffy.
Yeah, he kind of admits that to Buffy. That was kind of weird.
And yeah, it's kind of shitty for Cordelia, especially her growth by the end of the episode, which we'll get to. But in the beginning of this one, he's like, oh, well, it almost feels like she's second choice.
Yeah, and I think that maybe that might have been the downfall to his and Cordelia's relationship, is that he never put her in front. And I think he needs to put her, like, I mean, if you're going to, date somebody, they need to be front and center, right?
I totally agree. However, he is a dumb 17-year-old boy.
It's true. It's true. Yeah.
So back at school, Cordy goes to hang out with her friends, the Cordettes, which Harmony is a part of. Harmony will play a bigger role in the series. She goes and she starts getting shit on. And essentially it's because she's dating Xander, right? She's now not cool because she's dating a loser.
And I don't know if it was really that, but Harmony was obviously looking for a way to become the head Cordette, even though
she wants to be in charge.
Harmonics at that point or something.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah, right? I like that. Harmaniacs. But I like harmonics.
I like Harmaniacs.
Ooh, Harmaniacs. Either one. So she wants to be the queen bee, and
she's taking Cordy down.
Yeah, she's trying to take her down. And that's the easiest way to do it because, man, Xander is just not popular at this school, even though it doesn't seem like there's that much of, like, cooler guys. There's, like, football players and that kind of stuff like that, but, I mean, he doesn't seem like that dorky, right?
I guess if you don't like his sense of humor,
yeah,
you can see that. And particularly about some of the stuff he does. Like if it's like, oh shit, isn't that guy that ate a pig and almost tried to kill the principal?
Well, he didn't eat a pig. He wasn't in the room at the time that they ate the pig.
That's right.
Yeah.
But I don't know if people could associate him with that group and be like, I remember that. Fuck that guy.
Buffy could associate with him with that group and be like, I remember when you tried to rape me.
Okay, well, yeah, this is that he was under the spell.
Yeah. So this episode proves that was specifically because of the spell, because when given to his own judgment and morality, Xander
really is a good guy,
which we'll see later on.
So while at school in classroom, Xander is, I guess, trying to, I don't know, he's going to take a test or has taken a test and hope he doesn't fail. Either way, he's leaving the classroom and we see Amy from the witch episode and she does some sort of hocus pocus.
They all have to line up essentially to turn in their homework at the end of the episode. And he's like, sweet, I actually have a piece of homework here, so I'll get a D instead of an F. And they're in line together. Amy's in front of him. She walks up to the desk and does the hocus pocus on the teacher. And Xander's behind her, so he gets to see him do that.
Yeah. Right after that, we see a semi-awkward scene with Giles and Jenny Calendar, with Jenny trying to, I guess, explain some of her actions, choices from the last several episodes.
Yeah, I guess she's like, hey, I know that, I've been lying to you since forever, but there's still a chance that we can have sex.
Well, yeah, that's a weird way to put it. But yeah, they still haven't resolved anything, at least Giles and Jenny's relationship. Yeah. And they kind of took one off in the Phases episode. I don't remember any Giles and Jenny interactions.
No. Well, yeah, because, essentially he was like, get out of here. You've been completely deceitful. And Buffy was there. So she comes out and the whole Scooby Gang's around Giles, so even if he wanted to forgive her, he's kind of peer pressured.
Yeah, and you made this comment, why do it in front of everybody?
Mm-hmm. Like a personal I'm sorry shouldn't happen in front of a crowd.
That seems to be like the whole Scooby's their MO. Let's make this as public as possible instead of like, hey, Giles, I need to talk to you about something. Of course he's going to be like super dick because Buffy's right there.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to seem like he's siding with Jenny Calendar over Buffy, but piss poor timing on Jenny's part.
I would definitely say so. she also doesn't really have, I mean, anything else to, I mean, why is she still working at the school at this point, right?
I mean, she needs a job.
Well, does she? I mean, it just seems, okay, so she gets a job at the high school. That seems like a ploy to get closer to Giles and to Buffy, right? It has to be, right? Because why else would she be going to school there? So they have to have something in place where if, you know, the Watcher wasn't a teacher, she'd be, you know, a garbage man or something like that.
I mean, what else would she do? Like,
what I'm saying is that the Gypsies should be funding her in some kind of way to do this, right? If they're going to send out a manager, like a regional manager, if you will, to come check on her.
I mean, I don't think gypsies are traditionally wealthy people, right?
Yeah, but we're talking a fictitious world, and it can be a little wealthy.
And what else is she gonna do if she's not a teacher? Is she gonna work at the Bronze?
Yes,
there's an opening for bouncer.
You can be the new bouncer.
Okay, so what you're saying is Jenny Calendar should quit and go work at the Bronze.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It'd
make it easier on Giles. They broke up.
Okay, here's another thing, though. She doesn't want to be that far away from everything and from Giles.
Yeah.
So it gives her an excuse to see him at the school and make these awkward conversations.
Which proves that he just can't trust her.
Yes. So in the library, Giles is talking to Buffy, and I believe he's the one that mentions for the first time that it's Valentine's Day. And Angelus is particularly cruel during Valentine's Day because he's a cruel person in general, but he does all sorts of fucked up things.
Yeah, I mean, just the Angelus gets loose.
So sorry, it's like a Starburst commercial.
On Valentine's Day, he goes apeshit. Yeah.
So essentially, he's saying, "Hey, you should take the day off from patrolling." That's like the sense I got from that whole scene.
Yeah, he's kind of like, maybe you shouldn't put yourself in harm's way.
And it might just be him protecting her, not that he doesn't want, maybe that she can't perform as well as she could because of what's going on with her emotions and Valentine's Day and Angel.
Well, I think the whole thing is they're waiting for a strike from Angel at this point, right? And they know his MO. He's probably been reading up on Angelus and knows that he's going to do something really horrible, right? So it's coming, but they just have to be watching for it, right?
Sure. It seems like they're doing a bad job of it, but yeah. There's other shit going on.
There's other shit going on. Like he really truly does want to probably get back together with Jenny Calendar.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wants to hit that.
So meanwhile, at the factory, your wherever it is, warehouse, who knows what the fuck this place is?
The industrial zone.
Yeah.
Of Sunnydale.
Spike is giving Drusilla a Valentine's Day gift because they care about each other, even though they're vampires without souls.
They like shiny objects, just like everybody else.
Apparently not as much as like a child's beating heart.
Well, I don't know if it was a child's beating heart or not. He said a shop girl's heart.
Oh, okay, well,
that could be anywhere from the ages of like 16 to 23, in my opinion.
All right, well then if she's 16 or 17, childish,
okay. Young lady.
Either way, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
It's a heart, and Angel gives this to Drusilla to one-up Spike and to make him feel kind of like a piece of shit.
Well, he's emasculating him, right? Essentially, he's saying like, oh, you gave her a little shiny object. I'm giving her substance for us. And not only that, it's like veal filet mignon if you're a meat eater and like that.
Was that what it was? Like it was... I thought it was something not so much that, yes, they could eat it. I thought it was more of like, I did something this fucked up for you, like because we're evil and this guy's
I've also
being all
heard
pathetic.
Like a lot of talk about how babies and younger people have better tasting blood. So I would assume that like, or maybe it's just people like being that evil.
That's what I thought, because I can't... Have they ever just grabbed a heart and just started eating it? It's usually... through the neck. It just seems weird to me. And plus, it's not beating, so it's not as fresh as it could be.
That's true, but she does say it's still warm, which means, I mean...
You just did it.
Yeah.
Either way, semantics. Angel's fucking with Spike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Making Spike feel like a little wounded bitch. Because Spike is kind of a little wounded bitch right now.
Yeah, he's rolling around.
Yeah.
Playing Sting albums.
Just...
It's not going to go away.
That's awesome. They're just yelling, "I'll be watching you."
Yeah.
Just... okay.
So speaking of music, the Dingoes are back.
The Dingoes Ate My Children. Is that what it's called?
Babies.
Dingoes Ate My Babies. Dingoes Ate My Children.
That sounds a lot darker. But
yeah. Dingoes Ate My Babies.
Yeah, it's a weird little scene where we see Oz playing in his band.
It looks like he was actually playing like Seth Green was actually playing and was really proud of himself for being able to play. Like he learned how to play that song and was doing an okay job and like looked at the camera and was like, "Hey, I did a good job, right guys?" He
looked like he was in a high school band playing
which he is, so it's good. He did a good job.
He kept looking down a little too much and seemed, I don't know. Either way, Willow is super excited to see him. Yeah. She was like the groupie.
She's like, "Hey, I'm a groupie."
Which I think they just did that so it can establish, Willow and Oz are still a thing, in case you forgot.
Yeah.
It's been a week.
It's been a week, and we need to keep building this because they're super cute together.
Meanwhile, at Buffy's house, she gets a Valentine's Day gift. Mm-hmm. It is a box of roses, red roses, with a cryptic message that just says, "Soon."
Yeah, her mom finds that.
Yes.
Yeah. What would you do if you were a mom? We already established that you're a bad mom.
Yeah.
But what would you do if you're a mom and you just got a thing of roses and it said "soon" with an exclamation point after it?
Okay, I'm going to answer this in two different ways. If I were a mom, maybe I'd be like, "Oh, who is this from?" And not to piss off Buffy. If I were her dad, I think I'd be all, "Soon? The fuck does that mean? Who the fuck said what's going to happen soon?"
Yeah, right. Like this is alarming at a base level. If a grown friend, if like we were still living with Shanna, and they mailed her a friend roses and it said "soon" exclamation point, I'd be like, "Hey, what the fuck does that mean? Like, do you have number one? Do you have a stalker? That's coming to kill you soon, or do you have a boyfriend that I don't know about that's about to fucking take your virginity? Like, what is happening?"
It's ominous.
Yeah, it's ominous.
Which Joyce either doesn't see or
doesn't give a fuck about.
She's like, "Oh my God, I'm not even going to deal with this right now."
Yeah, just sees this and goes like, "Hey, you got a present. It just has this card that's really fucked up. Here you go."
By the way, next Valentine's Day, I'm going to leave a box of roses and a note that just says "soon."
And I'm going to be really scared as to what you mean by that.
And I'm hoping Lana sees it. What the fuck is it?
And that would be the punchline. You ruined my engagement and my new child's life and everything over a joke.
Actually, on second thought, that sounds pretty awful. I'll do that to somebody else.
Leave that.
Could we still do the podcast though?
Yeah, I mean, okay. I could set this up pretty much anywhere there's electricity and a Wi-Fi. Okay, we don't even need the Wi-Fi right away.
So at the Bronze, it's kind of cut in between Willow at the Bronze and Xander and Cordy at the Bronze. Sorry, say that again. So they cut back and forth between Xander and Cordy at the Bronze, Willow at the Bronze, and Buffy at her house. Mm-hmm. And Xander gives Cordy the necklace right there. She pulls her away from her friends. Was she with her friends?
She was, yeah. So she was at the Bronze and she was with her friends, but they were being mean to her still. And he shows up with the necklace and goes up to her and has the necklace ready and starts making this speech about how their, relationship's not perfect or this or that. But in her mind, I think she's thinking, "Oh, if I break up with him now, I can make things right with my friends and become the queen bee again."
And basically choosing popularity over
her relationship.
Yeah, Xander, or her feelings for Xander.
Yeah.
And at this point, you're not even sure I wasn't, if she has real feelings for Xander. Because somebody who does this...
You know how she feels about relationships, right?
Yeah.
It's not a relationship until somebody gets you something.
He did. And
so he's actually doing that finally.
She seemed like she really liked that, but she was also like, I can't do this.
Well, essentially, it was a really good payoff because he gives her the necklace and goes like, will you be my girlfriend kind of thing? And she goes really happily, like looking at it, really stoked that he did it. And he goes like, we need to break up.
Yeah.
Immediately. And it's a good payoff. Very Cordelia delivery.
Yeah, it's pretty callous and almost like a adorable sort of way.
Yeah, in the Cordelia kind of way. That kind of, it seems like she's like smart and stupid all at once.
There we go. So Xander's all super pissed because of this. He remembers earlier that, hey, that Amy chick that showed up again randomly at school, who's normally not in every single class.
Yeah.
She did magic. She can make me a love spell.
Which is a big leap. Like, that's a big leap from her just looking at a teacher and being like, these aren't the droids you're looking for, to being like, oh, she can make a spell that makes Cordelia fall in love with me. That seems like a tall glass of water to ask for somebody in the 1840s. It doesn't work.
She learns all this stuff pretty fast. Like, she's super meek, and they being taken advantage of in season 1, and in this season she's capable of turning people into rats. Capable
at the same time, we haven't
spells.
seen her, and that is like a lot of hours, right? They say 10,000 hours is all you need. Malcolm Gladwell and all that shit.
Okay,
so she's very capable of having become that good, I guess.
I'm fine with it. Ultimately, I'm not like, episode ruined.
No, absolutely. And they had to build her being a magic potential user for what happens to her in 4 or 5 episodes from now.
Yeah, and it makes sense. And they even say it like, oh, at the beginning, it's like, oh, that wasn't me who does magic. That was my mom. And it's like, oh, okay. Remember, everybody? It's been established that there's magic in the world, and I'm from a family that's capable of it. There you go.
Boom, boom, boom.
I did like the reasoning for why Xander wants the love spell.
Which is awesome. And I've totally felt that, I think, the first time I had a girlfriend. Yeah.
Do you want to say what it is exactly?
No, it's too embarrassing. Yeah. He wants her to make Cordelia want him so he can break up with her and make her feel as bad as he does.
And it's just hilarious.
Yeah.
So it makes no sense.
No, it makes complete sense to me.
That's it?
Yeah. It's the whole thing of like, you made me hurt. Fuck you. I wish I could make you hurt this bad. And like when you can't because they don't care about you as much as you care about them, it's like this horrible space in your head.
I guess the whole idea is so ridiculous. And does it feel like something Xander would do? Like, he knows so much bad shit can happen in Sunnydale, but he's like, I'll do a love spell. That's always worked in any show or television or anything. That never goes wrong.
Yeah, it's ridiculous and very dumb of him. Yeah, there's no other way to say that.
But kind of fitting.
Yeah. And I think that we've all been in a place where we're so angry or distraught by love loss.
That we've looked for love spells or potions?
No, that we do irrational things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it is, essentially. That's the whole idea behind the love spell or potion. I think it's funnier if we all just take it literally. It's like we've all been in a place where we go out searching for a love potion to trick the person who no longer loves us into caring for us.
I would love to go to the magic shop that I used to go to as a kid and be like, do you have any love potions? Because she'd be like, no, we have like fucking whoopee cushions and fake glue that you put on your fingers that looks kind of like smoke if you put it together.
If I worked there and I saw you come as a little kid, I was like, oh yeah, little kid, here you go.
It's like, it's just like a mead notebook with your scribbles in it.
I just sell you some bullshit. Get out of here. Fuck out of here, little kid.
He actually sold me my favorite novel.
So Amy does the love spell for Xander. Thinks it's going to work immediately the next day at school. Goes up to Cordy and her Cordettes, and he try to hug her, kiss her, try to be some sort of...
He kind of just leans in and is very...
intimate.
You know, he's very brash. He's just very like, oh, hey. Thinking that she was going to be immediately enamored by him. And she's not at all.
Yeah, she's basically like, what the fuck are you doing? Get the fuck out of here. Mm-hmm. He assumes spell didn't work.
Yeah.
Just like basically the audience at this point. It's like, something bad happened. Something didn't happen.
So he ends up going to the library, right?
Yes.
And Buffy's there with Giles.
So what happens with Giles?
I don't know.
Does he just wander off for some reason?
Well, he's not there for very long, so he's there, I think, as a buffer, so Buffy just doesn't jump on Xander, it seems like.
Yeah, because we still don't know what's going on. Giles leaves, and then Xander is telling Buffy basically like, oh, Cordy broke up with me. Buffy's like, I know, blah, blah, blah. Xander makes some comment, and then Buffy starts going all big leagues on him.
Yeah.
She's like,
the music
maybe
changes.
You should come over.
Like super sexy music. Is that super sexy music?
I don't know, man. That's not anything I'd like to hear.
I don't know. That's what I think in my head every time I see anything hot.
All right, weird insight into Eddie's brain.
So sexy music pops on, and she's being like super seductive.
Yeah, and by the way, Sarah Michelle Gellar does a fucking amazing job at this.
Yeah, I don't know why she switched that. She used that in Cruel Intentions, and then all of a sudden The Ring came, and she changed up her game. Was she in The Ring? No. What was that? Ring? No. What was the other movie?
We talked about this in the last episode, and I took it out because we couldn't come up with the name of the movie.
I still can't think of the name.
Hopefully that's a good cut before, because I'm going to get rid of this too. So, because
you're not editing this.
Oh,
I am.
I hope you get rid of this too.
I'm leaving this in.
So yeah, Buffy does an amazing job at being very, very sexual and convincingly. I felt like, I was like, whoa.
Yeah. Based her whole reputation on it. I mean, Cruel Intentions and whatnot.
But like, it's so not Buffy Summers.
Yeah, it's not Buffy Summers. It's definitely not her role in this show, like ever. She's actually painted out to be more Joan Cleaver in this show. Like, just wants a normal relationship.
Well, it depends on the season, really.
Yeah,
and we'll get to that. Right now, she wants
shit with Spike.
It gets kind of fucked up.
Caliente.
And that's what's great about the show. I don't want to deviate too much, but she has so many different types of relationships and real relationships. Mm-hmm. This one feels very high school, and rightfully so. But the great thing about this show, it doesn't stay this way. We don't see another one where she's
progresses.
Exactly
it's
like
not
this.
like Korn or Eminem. They don't just stay the same over 30 years. It gets better over time.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer, not like Korn.
Or Eminem.
Okay. So Xander gets super freaked out, basically turns Buffy down at this point.
I would get freaked out too. I mean, just thinking about her dry humping him, like, and breaking his bones while she's doing it.
No,
would you have sex with somebody with that much power? I mean, that sounds weird. Right?
It sounds weird when you put it like that.
Super strength.
If you're asking if I would with Buffy in that moment, as long as it had nothing to do with the spell and she wanted to, I would say yes.
Yeah.
If not, then basically what we're talking about is like some sort of date rape.
Yeah. Horrible date rape.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what happens next in the episode?
See, this is where things start to get pretty jumbled as far as my timeline. Because these scenes happen where they go from the library to his house to the school again to back and forth. And I don't know if they're all on the same day or not.
Okay, he goes home. I don't remember what happened after that.
So he goes home and Willow's in his bed. And she scares him basically because she's doing the same thing that Buffy was doing. Being super sexual, not done as well as Sarah Michelle Gellar. It's basically in the way Willow can, in this cutesy sort of way, and she basically starts sucking his ear. Right?
Yeah, like she goes straight for his earlobe, which I think is kind of gross. Like, I don't know. I guess I've nibbled on somebody's earlobe before, but that was, I don't know, not my greatest moment.
Were you under a spell?
Yes, it's called puberty.
that poor girl.
poor girl.
What the fuck is this guy doing? It's like, all right, I'm just gonna
eating my ear.
do I tell him something or no? He stopped.
He stopped. Oh, he's going for the other one.
So Xander brings up Oz, and basically Willow says, "Oh, don't worry about him. He's cool." Something along those lines.
Yeah.
Like, don't
he's
worry
cool.
about him. No, he's fine.
What ended up happening is, I guess the spell made everybody start liking him or acting irrationally, except for Cordelia, because she had a necklace on.
Yeah.
That prevented it.
Which I don't still really understand how that works.
I don't think they explained it in any way.
No. And
no.
You don't even realize what's happening yet with Willow, because I think it's Giles once he goes back to school for some reason. And this is where, again, it's getting convoluted.
He goes straight to Giles. Yeah, it's hard to keep up with where he goes. So he goes back to Giles, and Giles is actually happy to see him at first, right?
Yeah.
He's like, "Hey, Xander." And then Xander's all like...
I don't remember him being that excited. Like, "Hey, buddy."
"Hey, what's up, Xand, man?" "Hey, X-Dog."
He wasn't, like, upset with him at this point, but he...
No. And then Xander immediately tells him, like, "Hey, I really fucked up. I made a spell to make Cordelia like me, and it turned around." And as that's happening, like, Jenny Calendar is slowly, like, she's coming in to talk to Giles, but rubbing Xander, which was really great delivery, like, feeling Xander's body as
it starts so subtly. It's like, hey, she taps him, and then she's like, and then she gets really into rubbing his arm, and I guess...
And so
shoulder.
From then on, the entire episode is Giles like trying to stop Jenny Calendar from going crazy on Xander while trying to, I guess, give him advice as to how to fix this. So he says, "Find Amy and fix this." Right?
Yeah.
And he says, like, "Well, Amy won't stop trying to fuck me. She wants to blow me every time I talk to her."
And I think they just get frustrated and he says, "Just go home."
Yeah, he's like...
And this is where maybe it's a problem with the editing, because he tells him to go home,
but he just came from home.
Yeah, and as soon as he leaves, that's when we see this whole like
a
army
horde of people.
Yeah.
Are they attacking him or Cordelia?
Well, it's at first they're getting on Cordelia they're basically being a bitch to Cordelia.
Cordelia walks back to her lockers after you see Xander talking to Giles. And she gets confronted by the Cordettes again. And this time they're angry at her for breaking up with Xander.
Yeah. The opposite
of
what happened earlier.
Of the episode.
And I guess they all start... do they start attacking her then?
No, I think at that point they just are snooty and just kind of leave her be. I don't know if at that point, once Giles and Jenny Calendar leave, Buffy comes back into the picture.
I think so. I think there's a lot of back and forth between these cut scenes of his house, the library, different parts of the school, and that's when she's wearing like stockings,
essentially,
high heels.
Like Giles and Jenny Calendar leave. He turns around and Buffy's there wearing lingerie. She has that like sheen to the legs too, which is super cute.
Which I feel weird because I don't want to like over sexualize her, but she is wearing that and she looks amazing.
She looks incredible. Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to over sexualize her because she is, 5 or 10 years older than you. And ew. So, just kidding. So actually everybody like looks incredible except for Willow.
Well, she's not wearing those overalls, so
yeah, that's a plus. She's actually
moving on up.
I guess a man's shirt is better than those overalls.
Yeah,
she's wearing Xander's shirt at that point, right?
Well, she took off the overalls, I'm sure, in a very sexy manner before he got there.
Clip, fall. Anyway,
so Buffy's all sexy in the library.
Yeah, but
coming on to Xander
actually controls himself,
his libido.
Yeah, because he's a moral person. He has morals, and he's a centered, kind of straight-driven guy.
And he's not
a piece of shit.
He says it in that scene. He would love to do this, but it's not really her.
Yeah. If she knew what it would mean to him, then he would love to proceed. Which,
again, is so fucked up with what happens in the end, because he's still just thinking about Buffy.
Yeah.
So Amy comes in. And I don't know why Amy comes in exactly. I guess it's to find Xander or help Giles. Some For some reason, she comes
I think
in.
at this point, it's everybody's attracted to Xander.
And that's an excuse, I guess, for them just showing up wherever Xander is?
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
sure. Why
yeah.
not?
Amy shows up there, gets into a fight with Buffy. She starts going into the Hecate stuff, turns Buffy into a rat.
Yes.
So this is the first time you find out that Amy can turn things into rats.
Yeah.
And something about Hecate. That's all I remember. Hecate, Macate, Fecate, Hecate.
Sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, she turns Buffy into a rat, and then right then that's when the scene happened where the Cordettes actually attack Cordelia. So before they're just, I guess, teasing her, insulting her, and then right after that they attack her. Oz.
Well, are they attacking her during the Oz thing?
Yeah, it's like one right after the other.
Oh, okay. So everything's piling up on each other.
Yeah, there's several scenes all happening at the same time.
Doesn't Giles come back in too?
Yes, so that right after that, Oz comes in and punches Xander in the face.
Yes, just immediately comes in and socks Xander in the face. A man that's twice his size socks him in the face. Xander's like, hey, what the fuck? He's like, I just spent like 20 hours listening to Willow cry about you, and I just had the incredible urge to punch you in the face.
Yeah, which was kind of weird. Like, it's cool that Oz is doing that, but then he's like, oh, I'm sorry. Like,
he like immediately helps him up and was like, yeah, my bad.
I was like, quit being so likable, motherfucker.
Yeah, right? Be a dick.
So Xander leaves the library. He rescues Cordelia from the Cordettes, rushes outside, and then sees Willow with an axe.
Yeah, and
Well, not just Willow. Willow
and a gang of
an army of women all trying to.
I gotta say that Willow doesn't look that intimidating, even with an axe.
It's also how she holds the axe.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. It just seems like it seems heavy to her,
which is weird. This must be part of that. Has to be part of the character. Because I doubt it's a real axe. It's probably a prop axe, and it's probably light. So maybe the director or writers thought, no, you have to hold it like
it's heavy.
Yeah, like a meek little girl, not like you're Buffy Summers and you're going to destroy vampires with it.
Yeah. So she comes at him with the axe.
She says that great line, I'd rather see you dead than with that bitch.
And that's an amazing thing because, I mean, as fictitious as this show is, women and men have become that crazy when involved in love. Like, right, there's that scientific study that shows that love feels, or losing love feels like you're coming off of withdrawal from heroin.
That's I've heard something like that. That's awful.
Yeah, like brainwaves are doing the same kind of things when you're in withdrawal than when you're lovelorn. Is that the word? Lovelorn?
I don't know.
I think there's something like that. I don't know. I heard it once in a Buffy episode.
I heard it one time.
I heard it one time, so I decided to use it here on this podcast.
This is the way you sound like in my head.
In my head, I always sound like this to Jeff.
So back at the library, we have Amy and Jenny Calendar still arguing over who's better for Xander, blah, blah, blah. Giles starts to get pissed because they bring up I'm in love with him. And he says basically what the whole theme of this episode, which is it's not love, it's obsession, which is an interesting idea because we've talked a lot about the different types of love and why Buffy loves Angel and why Angel loves Buffy. And we've never really said, like, maybe they're just obsessed with each other. Yeah,
that might be true.
That could be a part of this whole first love, young love. It does seem very obsessive because they can only live for each other. Without each other, they're basically gonna die. It feels that dramatic, and I like this episode where it is in the season because of that, and I love that line coming from Giles.
Yeah, Anthony Stewart Head really kills it in doing that too. Like, he just kind of knocks it out of the park there.
Dude, when there is a line that needs some gravitas, they'll make Giles say it.
If you have to tell people to sit the fuck down and shut up, Giles is all that guy.
I love that there's such great actors and the writing's been established that I'm not saying we could do it, but if we wrote a script, it's like, oh, of course he would say this. Somebody has to say something stupid, make it come from Xander.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything's really, really well organized now as far as who is good at what, it seems.
So, right after that, Buffy almost gets eaten by a cat.
Oh, yeah. So Buffy's a rat, and they do this horrible cutscene where they show just a cat meowing or like hissing.
That cat is pissed off at Rat Buffy.
Yeah, that cat is pissed off at Rat Buffy, and Rat Buffy is right next to a mousetrap, so they're really, really making it like, uh-oh, Buffy's in trouble, even when she turns into a rat.
Well, is that how they tried to catch her with a mousetrap?
There was a mousetrap there, and then also a cat. Like, it's just like being like, uh-oh, she's a rat. She's helpless. Oh, my God. Like, Buffy's life is always in peril. The life of a Slayer is not an easy one.
Oh my God, that's definitely a reach, but I feel like maybe they tried to say something. That's awesome though. I love that. I was thinking maybe it even could be, see, things could be worse, Buffy.
You could be a rat and not remember. So you see that happen. Oz is looking for her as this is going on. Giles goes and grabs Amy and forces her, right, to do the spell on Buffy?
Yeah. They're all still in the library. This
Yeah.
whole thing, like, Giles basically never leaves the library this entire episode.
And he's holding Jenny and Amy hostage, technically.
Yeah.
To make sure that shit gets resolved.
So the girl horde chases Cordy and Xander back to Buffy's house and in the basement. And
well, we missed out. Chases back to Buffy's house, and they go in and see Mrs. Summers, and she seems
That's right.
She seems like, just chilling, like everything's good. And then she sees Xander and is all like, "Whoa, I haven't felt this much action downstairs in a while."
Not since Ted.
Anyway, so Joyce has got a boner for Xander,
Which is, I like that scene a lot too, is this global spell is happening, this love spell. And for some reason, I didn't think it would affect Joyce. I didn't even think that was a possibility.
I think that's what they're thinking. So yeah, but you assume that, oh, this person's older, and you immediately think like, oh, she's not going to be into him.
Somebody should get a hold of this. Some porn director and just remake this episode where Xander the entire time is like, yeah.
I think that's what the Buffy the Vampire Slayer porn is.
It's like this episode.
It's this episode, but he says yes to everything.
Okay.
It's essentially that.
The cool thing is they don't have to change any of the sets.
No, it's same exact sets.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Cordelia comes back into the scene. Notice that Joyce is hitting on Xander. Basically just shoves her out. She's muscling a lot of girls.
Yeah,
which I believe she
looks
can.
Good doing it.
She looks amazing.
She looks amazing
too.
this show. Oh, Jesus. Anyway.
Normally, that's how good she looks. Normally, you're talking about how good the dudes look without a shirt, or just how good the dudes look. You're commenting on the women this time.
Yeah. She's hot. Yeah, the guys are good too in this episode, though.
Xander has a shirt off too.
Yeah,
for the spell.
He doesn't look as good as he does in the Swim Team episode. Looks fucking hot in that one. What's coming up?
Yeah, we'll get to that when we get to it.
Yeah, super hot Xander.
So they go back up into Buffy's room, and this entire time I'm thinking, why the fuck are they in Buffy's house anyway? Uh-huh. And I have no idea. I don't know if they say that in the show, why they're at her house.
Why they ended up going back there?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know why.
Maybe he's looking to be. Oh.
They're only there because it's written that way so Angel can grab Xander from the window.
They make it seem like
out.
they're like fleeing from the Horde and it was like our last resort.
Buffy's house is apparently super close to the school.
Yeah.
So you can run there, and that's why... Or maybe it's just a safe place. Who knows?
You're right about the Angel thing, though. It's very convenient.
I did not remember that at all.
It's very convenient that they end up going to her house, go up to her room, and he's waiting outside her room, just waiting to grab Xander. Well, he's actually waiting to grab Buffy.
Yeah. And it's the only place he can actually enter.
And where the fuck is Buffy at this point? Is the Horde all hanging
She's a rat.
out somewhere? Oh, she's a rat. Never mind. Sorry.
Yeah, so she's stuck between that cat and that mousetrap.
Angel's waiting there, grabs Xander, throws him out the window.
Yeah. And I guess what is he going to use him as bait or kill him, or I don't know.
Oh, no, I guess at that point he says, I'm pretty stoked that
You should go with I'm pretty stoked, I think.
At that point he says, I was waiting for Buffy to give her Valentine's Day present, which assumingly is to kill her or do something like that because it's Valentine's Day and it's symbolic or whatever.
It's like kill her mom.
Yeah, kill her mom or do something like that. But he's like, this is even better. So he's about to kill her and he gets kicked in the fucking face.
Yeah.
By Drusilla, of all people.
Well, does she kick him or does she grab him? He lands against the tree.
Yeah, she punches him or kicks him and then throws him against a tree and decides that Xander is her new pet.
Yeah, and at first you're like, oh, he was saved, and then you realize it's Drusilla. Mm-hmm. She's like, how would you like to live forever? Yeah. How would you like eternal life?
How do you feel about eternal life? And so she's about to bite him, and then she is attacked by the Horde. It's kind of weird saying horde of women.
It is a horde of women.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Why isn't this ever done with like a horde of men? Because it'd become really violent and horrible.
If this episode was like reversed, it would. I don't know if I'd want to see that.
I don't
episode.
think. I mean, I think I've seen those, but they're dirty pornos.
Stupid and chasing after women and not even thinking about the consequences. So,
very well put.
It's like it's a love potion. It's like, no, he just had a couple shots of tequila.
Yeah, take his phone away from him. The Horde ends up saving Xander at this point.
Yeah.
And at the same time, he's still in immediate danger.
Yeah, it's one thing to the next thing to the next thing.
Because it's like, all right, they saved him from Drusilla and becoming a vampire. Now Willow has an axe again.
Yeah.
And so he's in immediate danger constantly. And at this point, I guess Giles and Amy are making Buffy not a rat again.
Yeah, you're finally got the spell down. Buffy's no longer a rat. At the same time that's happening, Cordy and Xander run back into Buffy's house and in the basement. Meanwhile, Buffy's house is just getting fucking destroyed.
Yeah, and by Joyce even, because Joyce grabs a knife and puts it through the door.
I don't know if she has renter's insurance or homeowner's insurance and what that entails in Sunnydale, but that house is getting fucked up. That's got to be expensive.
And everybody that is involved doesn't remember what happened really at first.
Yeah.
And it seems like they do remember, kind of.
Well, I do want to say this about them running back into the house. They run into the basement, and what I love about that is that's initially where they kindled their relationship.
Yeah, it's where they first started liking each other.
Yeah, not official, but that's where they kissed.
Well,
they were in trouble, and they were hiding there.
Well, technically, they never really officially became an item because when he finally asked her, she said, no, I want to break up.
Well, I mean relationship like in a vague term. They had some sort of relationship, and that's where it starts.
Yes.
Like it maybe not be like, oh, official boyfriend or girlfriend, but this is where they... how would you put it? They had feelings and they acted on them. So it's cool.
They started their forbidden love.
Sure. So it's cool that it happens here.
Yeah.
So the spell works, both spells. Buffy's no longer a rat, and girls aren't crazy about Xander anymore. They're not trying to kill him or Cordelia. At one point, Harmony in the basement, when she comes to, I guess, or is there normal stuff?
Ew.
But just... I don't know.
Very
fucking hilarious.
I thought that was good.
Yeah, she would do that.
Keeps with her character. Definitely a little bit weird in the coming of two, because they all come like two and they're like, where am I? What happened? Kind of thing. And it's kind of a weird thing because Buffy then later kind of switches that.
Do you think it's something like that it takes them a while to, or that's the only way I could explain it? Like, they're like, whoa, what am I doing here? Then they start remembering everything that happened.
Oh, okay.
That's not in the show. I'm putting that out there as my explanation. But they don't explain a lot in this episode, which I feel like I'm shitting on. And there are tons of mistakes now that I'm realizing it.
Because they didn't try to explain it, there wasn't a real problem until you start breaking it down.
And I liked it. It's a Xander episode.
Yeah, Xander episodes are great. And also this love potion crap is really hard to come to, like, make a cohesive episode about.
Unless you're like Rick and Morty and you basically make it so bad, you destroy the world and then just switch to an alternate dimension.
Jesus Christ, that show is so good. That show is so incredibly good.
That's how it's done.
That show is so good that their like fan theories are better than most other shows.
I could definitely see that. So everything's back to normal. Like you said, there's a scene with Buffy and Xander where Buffy says she remembers everything that happens. And she's super, like, casual about everything. She's like, nah, it's cool. Don't worry about it, dude.
Yeah, well, I think the whole thing is, like, I remember now. I remember what happened. And I remember that you didn't have sex with me when I threw myself at you. So thanks for not having sex with me against my will.
I don't know, it's just, that whole thing felt kind of weird. Is it that she acknowledges he was heartbroken and made a mistake? And if it is, she doesn't say that. It just seems super casual.
It just has to be with like, oh, it's okay. We have to make another episode next week, so I can't hate you.
I didn't like that too much. I knew they needed resolution, but I didn't like that.
Yeah, I agree.
What I did like though was Cordelia finally sticking up for Xander. Harmony's making fun of Xander, and she's like, fuck it, I don't care. Basically saying, it doesn't matter if I'm popular or not. This is the guy I care about and want to be with, and I don't care who knows it. And I think that's so fucked up because, like we were saying earlier, Xander's still thinking about Buffy. And this is the first time Cordelia she's like all in with Xander.
Well, I would say all in. But I enjoyed that because it also solidifies Cordelia. If you think about it this way, she's with Xander, but he's still better than the guys that she was dating. Hell, she was dating a guy that wanted to feed her to a snake, a penis-looking snake. You know? Snake monster. So it's not like she has... Yeah, well, it's definitely a metaphor for a big white dick, right? These guys were like a cult praying to a big white penis.
Where was this, Eddie, when we were talking about this episode?
But yeah, like she's definitely like into douchebag guys. So I think like this Xander that is definitely in love with Buffy, but you know.
But does that mean she deserves somebody?
Well, I mean, is that
like that?
Are you saying also that Xander isn't allowed to date anybody because he has a crush on somebody that doesn't reciprocate his love?
No, but I do think it's fucked up at this moment that Cordelia is defending Xander, and it seems like she really, really cares for him.
Yes,
and Xander still has a torch for somebody else. So
I would agree with you, but at the same time, also this could influence him to like her more and actually care about her as much as he cares about Buffy because now he sees that she cares about him back.
You're right, but it's more like, oh, we'll see what happens in the future, and I know what happens in the future.
Touche. Either way, I think this is also her stepping up for herself and defending herself in front of Harmony and being like, hey, you know what? I'm cooler than you because I'm cooler than you, not because of who I date. All right? So you step in line, bitch. You fucking get in line with the Cordettes because I rule you bitches.
Cordy's a bad motherfucker.
You. Yeah. She was like, I don't care who I want to date. If I want to date a homeless person, you're still my bitches.
If I want to date a homeless person.
It's like the only thing beneath Xander. But yeah, it also solidifies that, which I think is very important.
So any final thoughts on the episode?
It was a pretty good episode. I enjoyed it for a one-off. Jenny Calendar didn't die, as I was asking last episode, so she's alive. So she's gonna die soon, I guess. It was a good episode. It was a good Xander episode too.
Yeah, I liked it. I always loved the Xander episodes, even though I had a bunch of issues with this one and the writing and how things happened, and maybe the editing. I still really liked the episode.
Yeah, it's like a Randy episode on South Park.
Yeah.
I like them too. It's best. It's always the best with Randy.
Randy's fucking awesome. So should we move on to the deaths?
How many people died?
Just one. It was one vampire in the beginning when Xander is in the graveyard in the cemetery with Buffy.
Right on.
Which is good because the last several episodes, Buffy hadn't killed anybody. This is kind of like a return to form, which is good.
It's good that she's killing people again.
It's definitely good that she's killing people.
It's also good that nobody died as a result from Xander's spell, because then he would have also been like, all right, now I also have to defend this girl's death.
Oh, yeah, and that's one more thing I did want to say. We talked about why Xander isn't popular. He definitely wouldn't be popular after this if all the girls remember. And if they know that it was a spell that did that. Or maybe if they didn't know, they're like, all of a sudden I liked him. And like, why would I like this guy? I would assume there'd be some sort of emotional, mental resentment towards Xander.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So now they're going to remember him as the guy that's like, oh, you suck. And you did that shitty shit to all the girls in the school.
I guess until next week and somebody does something even more fucked up.
Yeah. Speaking of next week, what happens? What's next week's episode?
I don't know. I thought you had that.
Oh, okay. I have that down. Yeah. Next week's episode is called Passions.
Passions.
Yeah. It's do you remember anything about this episode?
Not at all. Can you give me a hint and maybe I can get going? Because I don't.
So it's an Angel narrated episode all the way through.
Really?
But yes. But we don't know if it's like good Angel narrating. Like, is this his like a passage from a diary he kept, really, or is this Angelus?
Fuck.
Angelus.
I don't remember this at all.
No.
I think I'm sure once I start. The problem is when you say some of these names, I'm like, if you said like, like a Hush or a Ted.
I will tell you
something.
this: that I do believe this is the first episode where we get the Whistler. Remember, where you get kind of like that character that like pulls him out of the gutter and points at the girl.
Oh, okay.
You'll remember this episode.
I mean, I've seen them all.
Yeah,
but I just can't think.
You've seen them all multiple times, but when you see it, you'll be like, "Oh, wait, this is a character that turned into Doyle."
Yeah,
and then you'll be like, "Oh," and I think it's that, and I do believe again. I'm gonna say that I think this is the episode where Jenny Calendar dies, but it's gonna be a cut between old stuff of Angel, and the current situation with Angelus.
Okay.
So yeah, Angel and Angelus.
You're way better at this remembering shit than I am.
Sorry.
You don't have to be.
Sorry.
But I do
super stoked about my memory.
I do have one more question for you though. Do you want to get under the covers just to stay warm?
Riley wasn't ever a Scooby.
He was on the show for a season and a half.
Yeah, that's true.
He was a major deal. He was the boyfriend, the main boyfriend after Angel.
That's true.
I think he's super important, and they kind of just like, whatever, fuck you.
Yeah, he was important at that time. I don't know. Right on. He also had sweet boobs. He had man boobs. They were very nice pecs.
Okay.
Pectoral muscles.
Yeah.
So did Xander, though. At one point. Not anymore. Now they're very ape-like.
This is going somewhere I didn't exactly intend it to head. But